Percy and Harold is the 9th episode of the second series and is based on the story of the same name from the Railway series book, Percy the Small Engine. This episode introduces us to another fan favourite in the series, Harold the Helicopter. Is the story as good as we remember it? Let's take a look. Percy is now working at the new harbour on Thomas's branch line. He often has to fetch trucks, and although he works hard, he still likes his new job and prefers branch line work over shunting for the mainline engines at the big station. Along the branch line is an airfield and Percy hears the planes flying overhead. The noisiest though is a helicopter, the noise of which Percy ends up complaining about. One day Percy stops his train at the airfield to talk to the helicopter, whose name is Harold. Percy compliments Harold for his big strong arms and Harold responds by saying that he thinks railways are slow and out of date. When they finish, Harold flies away and Percy sets off for the quarry. Percy finds Toby and expresses his feelings about Harold. Afterwards he collects his trucks and heads back to the harbour. On Percy's trip to the harbour, they hear Harold's unmistakable buzzing overhead. Percy's crew encourage him to race the helicopter, which Percy has never been allowed to do before and is excited. The trucks wail and beg Percy to stop, but it's no use. They have to slow down when they reach the wharf and Percy is sure that they have lost the race. But when the fireman climbs onto the cab roof, he realises that they've won, as he can see Harold still hovering and looking for a place to land. In celebration of Percy's victory, the fireman sings a song about the race which Percy loves, especially the last line. This is one of the more exciting episodes of the second series, as we get to see another race this time. Except instead of Thomas and Bertie the bus having a race, it's a race between Percy and Harold the helicopter. And this is the first story where Harold gets to shine. In this episode, Harold is shown to be very proud of being able to fly, and the speed and versatility this gives him. He somewhat tends to be very cocky, as he believed that railways are slow and quite out of date. This caused a bit of a rivalry between him and the engines, particularly Percy, and he is usually nicknamed Whirlybird for that. But he usually got his comeuppance in the end. Despite this little flaw in him, Harold is always helpful and highly alert whenever there is an emergency, especially when he's on patrol. Because of this, he remains a friend to the railway. He also speaks in a manner reminiscent of an RAF pilot, using such terms as wizard and old chap in conversation. This episode was so popular among the Thomas fans as well as the staff for the TV series. So much so that it got mentioned many times in future episodes, and there was even a flashback to it in the series episode Letters to Santa. And having looked on Thomas Wiki for screenshots of the episode for this review, I found out that a possible basis for this episode was when Flying Scotsman was racing a helicopter back in the days. It's really amazing that the Scotsman inspired quite a few stories for Thomas the Tank Engine. And we also get to hear Sir Ringo Starr's singing talent in this episode once again with the victory song for Percy after the race.
Said Harold Helicopter to our Percy, you are slow. Your railway is out of date and not much use, you know. But Percy with his stone trucks did the trip in record time, and we beat the helicopter on our old branch line.
How has this guy not gotten an Oscar or Tony for his performance in the TV series? Harold and Percy is another one of those episodes that I really do recommend watching if you haven't watched it for a while. It's an enjoyable racing episode that was really made for the people who love races. And it'll get you hyped to see Harold the helicopter for the first time. So if you haven't seen this for a while, check it out. You won't be disappointed with the fun race.
Said Harold Helicopter to our Percy, you are slow. Your railway is out of date and not much use, you know. But Percy with his stone trucks did the trip in record time, and we beat the helicopter on our old branch line.